Picture this. You're at the bottom of the ocean, maybe 2,000 feet beneath the surface. You look up into the dark blue distance, and you see this huge shape looming over you. At first you think it's a whale or a shark, but then it gets closer and you realize with a jolt that it's a lobster. And not just any lobster, mind you, but a giant lobster. Now this may sound like something that could never happen, and you'd be right. There are no giant lobsters at the bottom of the ocean. However, there are some very big ones. So let's talk about the largest lobsters ever recorded and what exactly it would take to find one of these behemoths at the bottom of the sea. First things first, how big do we have to go to get to the biggest lobsters? Well, according to the Guinness Book of World Records, the largest lobster ever caught was almost 30 pounds and measured more than 3 feet from claw to tail. To put that into perspective, a typical American lobster is around half that size. As far as where you might be able to find one of these monsters, well, the waters off the coast of Maine and Canada are a good place to start. This is where the record-breaking lobster was caught back in 1968, of course. You need to be a pretty skilled lobsterman to reel in a catch like that. These guys spend their lives at sea and have all the skills and experience necessary to haul in the big ones. But what if you don't have a boat and you don't know any lobstermen, and maybe you live in a landlocked state like Nebraska? Well, it's not all bad news, because there is a place you can go to experience the thrill of catching your own monster lobster. You just need to head on down to the local aquarium and check out their lobster tank. Of course, this isn't exactly the same thing as catching a wild lobster, but many aquariums allow visitors to reach into the tanks and pick out a live lobster for the aquarium to cook and serve to them. It's a unique dining experience for sure, but just remember that even the lobsters in an aquarium are nowhere near the size of the biggest ones that have ever been caught. That's because in order to really reel in a massive lobster, you'll need to head into much deeper waters. After all, lobsters typically live between 650 and 2,000 feet below the surface. They prefer the colder, darker depths of the ocean, where they can hide among the rocks and coral. The problem with trying to catch a giant lobster at the bottom of the ocean is that there aren't many people who are willing to go that deep into the water. After all, it's incredibly dark and cold down there, and there's a lot of pressure.
Ow.
The average scuba diver can only go about 130 feet below the surface before they have to turn back. This means that most lobster catches happen at shallower depths, where it's easier for humans to operate. But that doesn't mean you couldn't find a giant lobster if you were willing to go deeper. In fact, the world record for the deepest lobster ever caught is more than 3,200 feet below sea level. If you want to try your luck at catching a giant lobster, you'll need to bring a heavy-duty camera with you so you can see in the dark waters. You'll also need a strong fishing rod and line to reel in a big catch, as well as a sturdy bucket to keep your lobster alive until you bring it up to the surface. Finally, you'll need to make sure you have a way to breathe underwater, whether it's a scuba tank or a helmet with a glass front. Just make sure you're prepared for what lies beneath the surface. If you're not careful, you could end up with more than you bargained for. So are you brave enough to head into the deep ocean and search for a giant lobster? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more ocean adventures.